YouTube fam, I'm Francina Simone and I am here with my Blackathon TBR. So let's just jump into it. It's going to be a quick video. So there are 6 challenges for the Blackathon Readathon that we are doing. So we took a poll on Twitter and we decided to make it for the whole month of February. So there's no rush to read within just 2 weeks. So take your time, read all of the books, read any books that you want, just read a book maybe. You know, really do what you want. It's not, you don't have to stick to the challenges, but if you want something more structured, then you know this is definitely it. So of course for our group book, we are doing The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I don't know if you can see this, there we go. And this is going to be the one that, you know, I think we're going to probably discuss it around the second to last week of February. So if you want to join in on that, you know, go grab a copy from the library, download an audiobook from the library, go purchase a copy, whatever you want. And yeah, it'll be tons of fun. And just for a recap, this is about a girl who comes from a very like Catholic background, and her mother is really like only about Jesus, and she ends up finding out a little bit more about slam poetry, and then she's invited to her slam poetry club at school, and she knows her mom's like would be like, no, never. But this girl is a poet at heart. She wants to speak her mind. Plus there's this guy that she's got her eye on from bio class, and I don't think her mom would like enjoy that either. So she's got romance and she's got some life purpose going on, and we just go on the journey to see how she uses her voice to kind of speak up for herself and also express herself. So I'm really ready for this. Plus I think a lot of it is in spoken word too. Like just flipping through, we've got a lot of like poetry going on here. So yes, the whole book, look, the whole book, most of it. And I love stuff like that. So I think this is also going to be a fairly quick read too. Wakanda forever! So the second challenge is Wakanda forever! I watched King Vader's videos and he did a Black Panther one, and that's one of the songs. So that like, now I can't even say Wakanda like a normal person. I always have to be like, Wakanda forever! Anyways, so back to the challenge. It is to read a graphic novel or comic with a Black main character. And I kind of went to town with this. I got a few graphic novels that fit some of the other categories as well. But one that I'm actually really interested in and I really want to read through is Afar. Mainly because I just love the art on this. It's got what I like. So this one is about a girl who develops the ability to astral project into other people's like bodies and lives. And so during a period where her parents leave her and her older brother is like 13. I think she's left like kind of in charge, and they're on a trip or something, and he's supposed to be like taking care of the sheep. I think he even gets messed up in some like stuff that he's not supposed to be doing. You know how teens be when they're left alone to their own devices. So anyways, she and her brother go on this amazing journey throughout the cosmos because they do go to other planets. And while astral projecting, she kind of like got a young guy hurt. And I think it's probably a guy around her age or just a young man in general. I'm trying to find that romance aspect. You know how I am. She's trying to like find him and help him out because I think she needs to right some wrongs there. And her brother go on. This is not sponsored by Disney or Star Wars. I'm just fixing a stormtrooper hand. But she goes on a journey to figure out her abilities and also to right some wrongs that she's done while astral projecting. And I think to help her brother out of something. I'm like pretty sure her brother gets into something, but maybe he doesn't. Oh yeah, he gets into trouble with a threatening cyborg bodyguard. So I don't know what he did, but he does do that. And so she's got to like, it's like this sibling familial relationship that's going on where she's got to trust her brother to like have her best interest at heart, and also, you know, she's got this new ability and they're going on adventures across the planets. Art-wise, I just was really into it. And this one is drawn by Kit Seaton, and it's written by Layla Del Duca. I said Del DeLuca. It's from Grey's Anatomy, DeLuca. Anyways, it's written by Layla Del Duca and drawn by Kit Seaton. So the illustrations are amazing, and I have these people in my pile yet again because I am a ho for these graphic novels. This one I have is called Norway, and this one's written by Kit and Kat Seaton. I don't think they're related, but they could be. But this one is also illustrated by Kit Seaton. Now, this one is obviously about a brown girl. Look at the brown girl on the cover. I'll tell you what it's about before I talk about kind of my like little pet peeve with it. But this one's about a young girl who is told by a witch that she's gonna have an unusual betrothal, and she's all excited for it until one day a bull shows up asking for her hand in marriage, and like a literal bull, and she's just like, what? And they go on an adventure, and she has to find out, is the black bull of Norway a man or a monster? And like the illustrations on this were also really cute. However, like low-key, I'm wondering, like, Kit, what is with all of these brown people? I don't know if they're black. And so since this is a fantasy, I'm very loose with the term of like black, brown, person of color. Like I'm very loose with that since it's a fantasy. However, like this one just looks like white people colored brown. So like here's a case in point. I don't know if you guys can see this. Boom. Like look at everybody in that like panel and that pane. They all for the most part look white. Like they've even got the aristocratic hats on or wigs on, and they're just brown. So it's very strange for me. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna read it. Obviously this takes place in a more Western centric type of like universe. So I don't know. Like it's one of those moments where I feel like did they just get colored brown to get diversity in? Because there are also people here I can tell who like this dude, he's of the African diaspora. The African diaspora. Like, you know what I mean? She does not look like that. However, does that mean that she's black? Probably not. Maybe she's something else. Like, I've got to, I can't be like super narrow-minded when it comes to color scheme. It's just I also can't tell what she is outside of that. Like, do Persian people maybe have these kinds of facial features and stuff? It's just I'm used to looking at white people who look like this, if that makes sense. So I'm not being like super colorist, like if you brown, you African, you can't be brown and not be African. You know, like I'm not saying that. I just think that she has features that look very white, like facial structure and yeah, so I'm interested. But you know what, I'm gonna give it a read because still they're brown and I'm here for that. Like I love brown people on covers. Not that I don't love white people on covers, it's just they're on all the covers usually. So I just, you know, we're gonna see how that goes. But obviously Saga, I don't know if you guys know that I love this series. I don't think did I do a review on it? I think I did, maybe I didn't, I don't know. But I am absolutely fucking in love with this graphic novel series. It's definitely not for young adults. It's an adult series. So, you know, don't be looking at it and be like, oh, it's got family. I'm gonna get it for my 13-year-old. Like, you know, if you're an older person. Like, if you're a teen and you know you can read adult stuff, by all means go for it. But don't be buying this for your kids thinking it's like family oriented. It's very graphic. However, I absolutely love this series, like with my whole life. And this is the 9th one, and I think it might be the final one. I don't know. I don't want to look. I don't want to spoil myself. I don't know, like, if there's another one after this. I don't know, like, how long they go. I kind of hope that there is. I almost want to do a whole reread before I get to this one, but we'll see how that goes. But this is definitely on my list. It's probably, like, the first thing that I get to. So the next one is Hear Us, any work by a Black or African author. Obviously, any book fits that as we're going, so it doesn't matter what book you pick. I don't have, like, a specific one for that, since all of these are that, right? The next one is Feel the Beat, but that's spoken word, so we'll listen to 4 like poems, and that'll be later in the month. And then number 5 is More Than Color, and this is reading a book starring an intersectional Black character. So whether they're disabled, from the LGBT community, neurodivergent, whatever have you. I think sometimes I think fat fits in that, like if you read about a fat girl. I have multiple books that kind of fit that category, and I don't know which ones I'm going to do. But from the library, I'm gonna borrow the audiobook of Let's Talk About Love. However, I do know that N.K. Jemisin has a lot of intersectional characters in her work, and I do plan on reading the 5th season. So I don't know if any of the main characters are intersectional though, so that's why I have the other ones on speed dial. Oh, and then of course I missed the first one, which is Stand Together, read a book featuring a Black, on Black, or person of color romance. So it could be intersectional or 2 Black folk, intersectional, interracial, or 2 Black folk. And for this section, I have so many different kinds of romances going on. So the group book actually does fall into this category. It's not a strict romance book. However, it does have a romance in it. I got Sleepless by Sarah Vaughan, and guess who illustrates this one? Layla Del Duca. So she, of course, wrote Afar, so I'm interested in that. Although, you know, I'm not so sure if I'm in love with her illustrations completely. I'm gonna give him a chance. Her illustrations are a little on the nose for me. Like, they're very like harsh, and I love like fantastical looking shit, so I can't help it. My eyes want what they want. But this one is about a lady in waiting. In the kingdom of Harmony, Lady Poppy Pena is kept safe by her faithful sleepless knight Cyrenic. Bruh, these fantasy names. But when a new king is crowned, like, people put a target on her back. They want her dead. And so her and her faithful sleepless knight are going to go on a mission to find out, like, who's trying to kill her, why, and of course, because it's romance, they start getting some feelings. They catch the feelings. So I'm really, like, interested in this one. And I also have this graphic novel. It's called Crush by Svetlana Chomakova. And I read Awkward and Brave, and I love the graphic novels. Like, I love these. They're middle grade for the most part, upper middle grade. So it follows a boy named Jorge, and I'm pretty sure that he is of the Hispanic descent ethnically, but I think he could be, given his color palette and stuff like that. I don't know whether he falls into the Afrikaans or just like the Caucasian Hispanic, but he looks a little dark, so I'm gonna go ahead and guess that he's from the Afrikaans kind of Hispanic. Either way, he's a person of color, and I'm just lumping it in with this one because it is a romance and I've been wanting to read it, and it's cute. And it's boy-centric, but written by a girl. And I love graphic novels that are written by women because I find that that's so hard to find in general. But I'm also interested in this one because it is a boy, and he is super, like, this is his first time. He doesn't even really know what, like, crushing and falling in love is like, and it's all happening to him. And I love me Svetlana. She is an amazing writer and an amazing illustrator. I just love her stuff. Her stuff is just so adorable. So I'm excited for this one. And I'm going to read it. Whether it fits into the category or not, but and I do have some honorary reads on here too. This is Pride, and this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling by Evie Zaboy, and it is set in, I think, the Bronx, or is it set in Harlem? I think it is set in, I said the Bronx. Is the Bronx Brooklyn? I'm not from New York, guys. So is the Bronx Brooklyn, or is the Bronx the Bronx? I don't know. Either way, this one is set in Brooklyn, and it is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, so there's the backstory for you. And I really do want to get to this one, but as it's a whole month and there aren't some novels on this list, and I read really slow these days, I don't know how many novels I'm going to get to, which is why I have so many graphic novels that cover all of these topics. But I hope it's to get to Pride. I really do. I want to try. I really, really want to try. I've heard really good things about it. And then another honorary mention. Woo! Look at this cover, y'all. Look at this cover! So this is actually an ARC, and it's Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. This is about a guy who's, like, essentially hired to track this boy. Normally he works alone when he tracks, but he's working with a group this time because for some reason this is a very special case. And as they're going along, there's this guy who can shapeshift that's a part of it. The tracker himself, he's got like a nose. So I know that this is African inspired. I think it's a take on our world, but African inspired. So not set in like Nigeria, but set in like some other place that's not real, but African inspired. Like a Wakanda, kind of, but not like so futuristic and stuff. Nonetheless, as he goes along on his tracking expedition, he starts questioning, why can't this boy be found? Why, you know, are people working so hard to hide him? And I don't know, it sounds really kind of like mysterious. Now, the thing about this is I do want to start reading this because this is over like 600 pages. It's a long book, and you know, they're not playing with that kind of small font there. So I doubt that I'll get this be done with this by the end of February, or if I'm gonna start it for just this readathon. I think I'm gonna, like, you know, do those easy wins that's before that. But my goodness, is this not a gorgeous book, one, and two, it has such a like a magical air to it. What I'm really hoping, and like I don't want to read too many reviews or go into it with too many like feelings of what I want it to be, because that's usually how I ruin a book for me. But one, this cover gives me Mononoke Hime, Princess Mononoke. It's a Ghibli like Hayao Miyazaki film. I love that. That was the first anime I've ever watched, and it was the moment I fell in love with all things Japan at the age of 13. And this gives me those feels, because you see that snake in the movie, there's like a disease that these like gods get, and they get like infected with like these like mobile worms. I don't know, like let's not talk about it. It used to traumatize me as a kid, but this makes me feel that on such a level. So I am like hypnotized. But what I'm hoping is that the book is just as vibrant and colorful as this cover. Like I want fantasy like to be swept away and to feel like I am in a place where I hope that it's not too thriller and just grimy and dark. I hope that it's colorful and like twisty, turny, and vibrant, if that makes sense. That's just the color pattern that this is giving me, and this is what I hope the story feels like. And then of course, there is the Inheritance trilogy that I tried to start a while ago. This one is actually much shorter. It's only like 388 pages, and I believe this has intersectional black characters, but if not, it's still N.K. Jemisin, so I kind of want to see if I can do that, because this is just one novel right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, this is just one novel right here. It's like 388 pages, and that is not bad at all when it comes to like a book, but if the writing is super dense, I don't know how that's gonna go. So guys, that is it for my TBR. I know this is kind of long. I hope that I gave you guys some good ideas on what to read, especially with these graphic novels. Like I am living for the amount of graphic novel that I have. Saga, also interracial relationship romance, the two main characters for the most part. The main character is the daughter, but I mean like literally interracial and interspecies. Because it's that way. But I am living, and I think this is also somewhat of a romance. So like so many of these just fit so many of my personal like aesthetic. Like I don't know if you guys can tell what I like by just looking at those things, but boom. So if I gave you some good ideas, yay. Down below, list what your TBR is. I really want to know what other people are going to be reading. Even if you're just reading one book, like it's okay. It's chill. This is a chill thing. It doesn't have to be like, it's not super stringent. It's not like crazy. Just kind of have fun and just pick one book. If you're going to read 1,000 books, read 1,000 books. If you're only going to read one, just read one. Do you. I'm going to do me, and we're going to have a ton of fucking fun. So down below, tell me what you're reading, and guys, I will see you next week. So T2L, so talk for now. Bye.